What's up, YouTube? I've never said what's up, YouTube before, ever. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, it's Bill the Universe, and I'm going to do the chart of the great James Taylor. Um, I love James Taylor. I think he's a stone cold fox, and I love listening to his music. My mom, obviously being a flower child in the '70s, exposed me to James and Carole King and what's his name, John Denver, Cat Stevens. Like, I was exposed to so much late '60s, early '70s stuff, and it just really rubbed off on me. And so yeah, I was listening to Sweet Baby James the other day. It was actually, I was listening to my mom's original record from the '70s, so it was pretty cool. Gave me some good vibes. And I'm listening to his record, and it's just so playful and so musical. And the genres really blend. The first half of the album is very folksy, with Sweet Baby James, Oh Susanna. It's very acoustic, folksy. And then but then it gets really um, sexual. It gets very sexual with Steamroller and hit that last song. I forget what that last song is, but he talks about women a lot, and he talks about making love, and he talks about his own vibrato. And so anyway, I was like, that's interesting. Okay, so it's a man who's very sensitive, who makes very good music, and he's so musical because that album is in the '70s, before technology really took place, like affecting music that way. It was still fairly acoustic, it was, and even the recording was still analog. So anyway, point is, he's just so musical, and then he talks about sex quite a bit in that album, and he does it so tastefully too, to where you know what he's talking about, but like I don't know, you just kind of, I don't want to say forgive it, but you kind of do, because it's just so it's just such a jam, Da 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 da. And it reminds me, he's got a lot of soul. He's got a lot of soul. So he has a sensual vibe too, especially when he's talking about, well, I'm a steamroller now, and I'd like nothing better than a roll over you. I was like, damn, okay, James. So I really, and so he says that, it made me think of Porta Falguni, which is a star in Leo, because these people are very open. You know how, Leos are very open about their sexuality. They're not ashamed of it. So Madonna is a Porta Falguni moon. So James Taylor uh, is a Leo ascendant. He's a Porta Falguni, and Madonna is the same star, but it's on her moon. So she's a Leo Porta Falguni moon. So both of these people, and Madonna is extra ramped up because she has extra different placements that have a lot to do with seduction. Um, so hers is going to be very, 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 very expressive. But she was incredibly creative. If you were old like me and James, you remember Madonna's influence. And so the same thing with James. It's very upfront and very confident in their sexuality. And at the same time, they're not like vulgar about it either. It's very much an art form. It's very much done in a tasteful way. So a lot of Venus people are like this. They're very upfront and not ashamed of their sexuality, and of their sexual nature, but at the same time, they're rarely vulgar about it. And I don't see him. I don't see a lot of vulgar placements in this chart. I would see that in like maybe Mula, which he does have his Jupiter in Mula, but this is his Jupiter, and I will talk about that later. But usually I'll see Jeshta or like differently Mercury. Oh, he's got Mercury too. Well, there's like a lot of sexuality in this chart, but there's not. I don't see a lot of vulgarness. So anyway, He's a Porva Falguni ascendant. You know who else is a Porva Falguni ascendant? This star, Porva Falguni, it's in Leo. It's at the butt of the lion. So, and Beyonce's son is Porva Falguni as well, and they're very much the same way. She's very upfront about her moves, and when she was always uh, happy to show off her curves that she worked so hard for, and she's very body so bootylicious, and but at the same time, she's never vulgar. She's always classy about it, right? And also Janet Jackson. She's Venus, but she's not Porva Falguni. I'm so sorry. Anyway, but you know who else is a Porva Falguni ascendant is Dolly Parton, and Dolly Parton is also just again so upfront with the sexuality, very comfortable with their sexual nature, very very just what can more can I say? Nonchalant and candid about it, non-candid. I'm sorry. And yeah, but she was never ever vulgar about it. She was never vulgar about it. So that's interesting. So like, remember I said Jeshta? You know who is vulgar about their sexuality is Nicki Minaj. She's very beautiful, and I think she's a classy lady. But I mean, she's so much more vulgar with her sexuality, and she's a Jeshta son. So that's a very different type of sexuality. That's more the actual penetrative act, where Leo Porva Falguni is sexual adventures, definitely for sure. But it's also the sensuality, because it's Venus. Because Venus is more about the sensuality, but Jeshta being in Scorpio, that's Mars, so that's more about the sexuality. So that would be the difference. And so how did I get all the way to Nicki Minaj? I went off on a tangent. Sorry, I talk about James Taylor, but I just wanted to give you like the colors and like the vibe of what Porva Falguni is, and that's exactly the vibe that I got listening to his albums, because they're just very good quality. It's good quality music, and I know that because I'm a piano player, and my Venus is in Porva Falguni. Not my Venus. I'm sorry. My Mercury is in Porva Falguni. Mercury rules the hands, and Porva Falguni is sensuality and the arts, because it's Leo, and it's sexuality too. So I'm a piano player, and I play mostly R&B music, and I'm a singer, and I sing mostly R&B. I have more of an R&B voice, so that's the sensuality of Porva Falguni. You know who else has their Mercury in Porva Falguni? It is Whitney Houston. She had her Mercury in Porva Falguni. Mercury is the planet of speech, and Porva Falguni, as I keep saying, is sensuality, is sexuality. It's the love, it's the intimacy, it's the warmth, of the love making. It's the when a man loves a woman, like that, just that vibe. Making love with Kenny G in the background. That's the vibe. And Whitney Houston's Mercury was in Porva Falguni. And of course, gosh, I've made love to an entire Whitney Houston album. Not that y'all asked, but now that I think about it, I do remember that one time we did it to the whole motherfucking Whitney Houston Greatest Hits album, and neither of us objected. We just kept going. Anyway, so Porva Falguni is very much like that. And you know who else is Porva Falguni is Jason Mraz. He was famous. He goes because he does that song. Goes out count. No wait, how does that song go? Da 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 soda and I'm yours. Anyway, he's Porva Falguni. If you listen to his music and it lyrically, all he talks about is laying around, enjoying a lazy day, just enjoying themselves, having sex, having a leisure, kind of a boring, not boring day, like a leisure lazy day, like a long day, and Jason Mraz talks about that so eloquently. That's what Venus does. Venus talks about sex so eloquently. And so every time I hear Jason Mraz and I hear him talking, he talks about let's just lay around, let's just have sex, let's just enjoy each other, let's just have beauty, and every time I hear Jason Mraz's album, especially that first album, "Waiting for My Rocket to Come," case in point. What's the name of that album? "Waiting for My Rocket to Come." Seriously, that he's a Porter Falguni. These men are always talking about sex, and they talk about it eloquently. That song, I'm just a curbside prophet with my hand in my rocket, hand in my pocket, and I'm waiting for my rocket to come. Like, that's Jason Mraz. He's Porter Falguni. So anyway, point is, I keep staying on Porter Falguni. I just can't express enough how much of a Porter Falguni he is. How many? I spent 10 minutes on it. Okay, I'll go a little bit. I guess I'll go longer. He's Porter Bhajapata's son. So that's Jupiter. That's an Aquarius. So he's an Aquarius sun. This is Vedic astrology. So if you're disagreeing with me, it's because you're thinking tropical astrology. He's born March 12th. I think in tropical astrology, March 12th is still Pisces, but in Vedic astrology, it's not, because it's where the planets were accurately the time that they were born. So the sun was under the constellation of Aquarius, under the star Purva Bhajapata on March 12th, when he was born. So he's an Aquarius sun. Purva Bhajapata, I didn't get that vibe from him, but I've never seen him live. And I know he's lanky looking, but I didn't know, short people can be lanky as well. They're just super, super thin. But Purva Bhajapata is Jupiter, which really lengthens somebody. It really, really, for a man, really, really, really makes them tall so many times. And even if they're not tall, they'll be really, really short, but they'll be really fat and very rich and giving, and they'll have a big old dick too. But usually for men, Jupiter makes you really tall. So as soon as I saw that he was a Purva Bhajapata, I was like, oh, okay, so he's like more than 6 feet tall, more, probably like 6'2", 6'3", something like that, because he's also a Pisces moon. He's a Revati moon. Revati is a star in the constellation of Pisces. His moon is in Pisces. He's a Revati moon. And Revati moon men are very handsome. They're very sexual. They're very good at sex. They're very tall. They're very lovely to look at. I can't express enough. Pisces moon men can even express a very feminine side to them, where to the point where some people might even wonder if they're bisexual or something like that, because which hey, I'm gay. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but it's not actually because they're bi. It's actually because they are connected to both polarities within them. A lot of humans, especially Virgo, which is opposite of Pisces, right? They'll kind of go back and forth with their masculinity and femininity, but Revati has very connected to both poles, to both nodes. So you'll see these people being very feminine in one way, and then or really getting in touch with their feminine side, and then you'll see these Pisces men also be acting in their masculinity, acting their role, like their conventional role. So they really can go back and forth between the two with ease. But they usually are heterosexual. It's just that they have a very good connectedness to their femininity, and vice versa. When I see women who are Revati, a lot of these women are very tough, and they are feminine. They're heterosexual, but I'll see them having a lot of tattoos everywhere. They'll be a boss and they'll be kind of pushy. Whitney Houston was a Revati moon as well, and she was the boss. She had a lot of people under her payroll. She was very pushy. She was very beautiful, because, like I said, Revati women can be very in touch with their femininity. But then you've seen Whitney Houston in the interview. She's like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to say that. Oh, she'll do a whole interview with a straight face and sunglasses. And she was bisexual. She did have a long relationship with that lady. So Revati people in general, they're very intelligent, but they also, um, uh, they have like a really, in many ways, they're actually above labels, like they're actually, and you know what is a good symbol for a Revati is the rainbow. And I actually know a Revati woman, and when she was a girl, she was in a club called the Rainbow Club. Isn't that cute? Rainbow Club. But yeah, it was just about people just accepting everyone and loving everyone and doing good for the earth, and it was just so these people are very accepting, but they can be also very, 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 very sensitive, like so sensitive. And the fact that his moon is in Pisces in the eighth house, first of all, 12th Pisces is 12th house, so 12th house is the house of loss. So sometimes there's a lot, and moon is the mind in Vedic astrology, so you can have like a loss of the mind. And I actually do know that he did spend some time in a mental facility because I don't know why actually, but I do know that I think that song "Fire and Rain," especially that second verse, man. That second verse is mysterious as hell, and mysterious as hell. I don't want it. It raises a lot of questions, that second verse and the third verse too. Walking my mind through an easy time, my back turned toward the sun. Man, so deep. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line that talk about things to come. Anyway, only Taylor fans are gonna watch this video, you know. So anyway, yeah, I mean the moon is in Pisces, that's 12th house, but then it's also in the eighth house, which is the most dangerous part for the moon. It's a very restless part of the moon. No sleep, very crazy dreams. I would this person actually I could. It's weird. This person like I wonder if he's like I don't know. Maybe he's not psychic, but he's had a lot of like really crazy spiritual experiences. Um I I wonder if he has um what's it called? Astral projected, whether intentionally or unintentionally. That's the act of your subconscious exiting your body. And so then it leaves your body like in a catatonic frozen state, but then your actual like essence is outward. So then you're essentially a spirit and you can like fly around. It's crazy. Um, yeah, because there's a lot of that, especially with this Revati moon in the 12th, I mean, in the 8th house. And I see his Mercury is in Danishta. Danishta is a star in Aquarius. Carol King is a Danishta sun. So Carol King's sun is conjunct James Taylor's Mercury, and that's awesome because they were songwriters together, they were friends together. Mercury is a lot about friendship. Mercury is also the hands. So Carol King was a piano player, and what was Carol King is a piano player, and James Taylor is a guitar player. So I bet they had a lot in common. And for a Sun and Mercury to be conjunct like that, it's really cool. It means that they bring out inner qualities of each other and very similar qualities, and they can have very, very great conversations. There's just a lot of agreeable. There's a lot of agreeable conversations, a lot of agreeable activities. Mercury is the sign of the youth of the child, so they can actually kind of feel childish or youthful again when they interact with each other. It's a very playful feeling. It's a very fun feeling, which is pretty cool. And then I do know that he dated that very beautiful woman, Carly Simon. I don't know much about her, and I don't know about his wife now. If he is married, I don't know about his family life. Um, but it's interesting because he has his Rahu connected to his Venus, and so Venus for a man is the way he loves is his actual wife is what he prefers in a woman, and then his Rahu is Rahu can be very materialistic, and Rahu can be very beautiful because they're materialistic. And Rahu doesn't necessarily even have to be nice, you know. But they are beautiful and they are rich. Rahu is all about wealth and sexuality, and it's connected to his Venus, which is again sensuality and sexuality. So, and it's in Aries. So he's got both of these planets in Aries, which means the woman that he would go for is someone who's very independent, someone who stands alone, someone who's very beautiful. Um, and Rahu is, like I said, Rahu likes to be on top, likes to be is kind of materialistic. So very sexual, very powerful, very rich. These women, very much someone who fulfills his like superficial desires for sure. He likes a woman who is, he probably, this probably does good for him because I see a lot of, honestly, I don't want to say like instability, but there is a lot of, yeah, there's a bit of emotional instability in this chart. So I can see why needs an Aries woman with a Rahu, because Aries women who are Rahu and Venus, they're very beautiful. They don't need people's help. They're in charge of their own lives. They don't need this strong man to take care of them. So if anything, these women are so strong, they probably get a little bit weaker men, because they don't like to, be run over. Aries is very pioneering and kind of selfish. You already know this. Aries is, the winner. Aries is first place. So that kind of sounds like Carly Simon, someone who's very beautiful, and she was a winner. She was first place. She was a chart topping woman. You're so vain. I bet you think this song is about you. Was that about James Taylor? No, I don't think that was. I don't think that was. So anyway, and I don't think it could be about James Taylor. I actually don't see a lot of selfishness in this chart. I see a lot of selfishness in the women he dates, because when you see selfishness, you see Aries, and that's in his Venus baby and his Rahu. Maybe he was selfish in his pursuits and of career. Actually, maybe in love too. Shit. I don't want to say bad things. That's not nice. Sorry, my bad. And I'm pretty sure I'm at 22 minutes. Damn. Okay, that's enough. Bye. Love you.